It's been a very busy week for the Disney company, you guys. The first Disney park gets its reopening date. Disney Springs plans a phased opening, and we get a look inside how the company is dealing with this crisis. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So Disney is starting to reopen next week. Shanghai Disneyland will be the first Disney park worldwide to reopen to the public. But Disney Springs will soon let guests return to restaurants and shopping locations at Walt Disney World. Stay tuned to find out when. Disney also held its quarterly earnings call this week, which is typically just a lot of financials and business talk with the occasional bit of parks and relevant news. But not this go-round. With everything focused on the current situation, the meeting brought us big news. All right, so let's start with what I know you are all very interested in. Disney Springs is going to begin their phased reopening soon. Disney announced Thursday that starting May 20th, Disney Springs will start that phased reopening with third-party dining and shopping beginning to open in that initial phase. Now, third-party, what that means is that Disney doesn't run those restaurants. There are other companies that run those restaurants. So we don't have a lot of specific restaurants that have confirmed that they're opening yet, but they're definitely going to be non-Disney-owned restaurants. So guests and employees are going to be required to wear appropriate face coverings. That's everybody in Disney Springs, whether you work there or you're visiting. And there will be, quote, limits on capacity, parking, and operating hours. Several restaurants are reopening on May 20th, including Wine Bar George, and they've released a statement noting safety measures and new procedures they're going to be following, like health checks for employees and strict sanitation procedures, along with social distancing changes like spacing guests in the restaurant and using contactless menus and encouraging contactless payment. We're still waiting to hear what other stores and restaurants will reopen, though remember, it will only be those third parties, not Disney operated, so you're not going to be going to World of Disney or anything like that. But again, it's going to be starting their reopening on the 20th. All right, Shanghai Disneyland will reopen May 11th. The biggest news, that first Disney park is going to reopen in just 2 days. Shanghai will begin welcoming guests again on Monday, May 11th. The park will be opening with strict social distancing measures, including the use of masks by employees and guests, temperature checks, contact tracing, and other early detection systems, along with extra sanitation procedures. Bob Chapek also shared that capacity will be dramatically cut. The park can typically hold 80,000 guests, but only 24,000 will be admitted, though Disney will be opening with even less than that at first. Shanghai Disneyland will also require advanced ticketing and reservation, so guests will be required to purchase dated admission tickets prior to their arrival, and annual pass holders will need to make a reservation for their visit date before their visit. Dates are available now through June 7th and are already selling out. Parades and nighttime shows won't start up right away when the park reopens. Play areas and theater shows will also remain closed for the time being. They will be adding a few more character parades to offer more entertainment to guests, but close-up character meet and greets will be suspended for the time being. Face characters won't need to wear masks, but they will be kept at a distance from guests. Now, we also got some interesting information about safety measures that are being considered for the United States domestic Disney parks. With Shanghai Disneyland reopening, there have been discussions on what the openings of the parks will look like and how to keep cast members and guests safe during that time. None of these potential procedures and policies have been officially announced, so we still don't know quite what the U.S. parks will look like when they reopen, but we're beginning to get an idea of what might happen. So the Disney Parks Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Pamela Heimel, did lay out a potential reopening plan for the parks. Now, this is official. This does come from Disney, although it's not confirmed yet. And that includes a phased opening, which we're already starting to see this at Shanghai Disneyland and at Disney Springs. So shopping and dining locations open first, and then in Shanghai anyway, resorts have started to be open to the public before the park was announced to reopen. Disney will assess all of its business and locations separately to decide how and when it will best proceed. Now, the chief medical officer for Disney also talked about social distancing measures that are being considered. This includes physical distancing guidelines based on current information from local health authorities, as well as the CDC and other federal agencies. This includes potentially using virtual queues, which we talked a lot about. Disney already uses virtual queue technology to mitigate crowd level. They used it to open Galaxy's Edge on both coasts. They're continuing to use it for Rise of the Resistance on both coasts. But when the parks reopen, we can see a much larger rollout of these systems. So FastPass already exists in both parks, Disneyland and Disney World. Disney World has FastPass Plus through the My Disney Experience app, and Disneyland offers MaxPass, which is currently available at an extra charge as Disneyland still offers paper FastPasses. We've also seen Disney use virtual boarding groups with the opening of Rise the Resistance. Now, both technologies limit the number of guests in line and could be a useful tool in managing crowd levels and social distancing when the parks reopen. As far as sanitation, based on what Disney is saying, we can probably say with near certainty that there will be expanded sanitation procedures in the parks. We may see hand sanitizer stations at the entrance and exit of rides, like what will be present at Shanghai Disneyland when they reopen. And of course, screening and prevention support. Enhanced screening procedures and prevention measures are being discussed by Disney, and Bob Iger has of course floated the idea of temperature screenings at park entrances. And since Disney Springs is requiring both cast members and guests to wear masks, there's probably a chance that that will happen when the parks open as well. But nothing official has been announced on this front regarding the parks specifically. All right, cast member training. Disney's working to establish a training program to bring all park employees up to speed on any new policies and procedures that are put into place when they bring those cast members back. Of course, right now, only essential cast members are in the parks themselves, but they, of course, will have to be starting to bring back Disney Springs cast members, and so training will be a big part of that. Disney also released a statement Thursday evening that further points to the phased reopening beyond Disney Springs and a potential for capacity limits in the parks. They say upon reopening, theme parks, Disney resort hotels, restaurants, attractions, experiences, and other offerings may be modified and will be limited in capacity and subject to limited availability or closure based on direction from health experts and government officials to promote physical distancing. So while there's still a lot of uncertainty, the U.S. Disney parks will be following state and national guidelines with regards to common safety practices, and we will continue to cover all the latest updates in regard to that on DisneyFoodblog.com. So if you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, I do recommend that. We are putting out a lot of information on our newsletter first. Thank you. Okay, something else that came out of that earnings call. Disney Cruise Line may be the last of Disney's endeavors to reopen. So Bob Chapek stated that cruises will probably be the last of their travel-oriented businesses to come back. Disney has currently canceled cruise sailings into the beginning of July, and Adventures by Disney cruise packages have been canceled for European trips through July 26th. While Chapek stated that guests are showing interest in returning to the high seas, cruises likely won't start sailing for several months. Now let's talk a little bit about Disney's actual financial situation, which is what those earnings calls are usually for. The meeting covered Disney's second quarter earnings. Only 2 weeks of that time period coincide with the U.S. park closures, so while Disney has certainly felt the effect, they don't have a clear picture of the long-range impact. Bob Iger noted that the company is especially resilient, while Bob Chapek stated that it is still too early to predict when Disney World and Disneyland would reopen. He also said that Disney would not reopen any park unless it could make a positive contribution to the company's overhead cost and could operate while generating a profit. Now, at this time, Disney estimates its operating income is at a loss of revenue equal to almost $1 billion, mostly due to closures. About half of this billion-dollar estimated loss is attributed to the first 2 weeks the U.S. parks were closed, while the remainder is attributed to international parks and the Disney Cruise Line shutting down. Analysts have weighed in, with research firm MoffettNathanson estimating that the Disney theme parks face a potential $21 billion revenue loss. They also anticipate the potential for a big rebound in Disney parks attendance levels in 2022, echoing Bob Iger's comment on the resilience of the business once the tourism sector stabilizes. Now, the state of the other Disney parks. With all this news about Shanghai Disneyland and potentials for U.S. parks, what's going on in the other Disney parks around the world? While Hong Kong Disneyland is currently still closed, though the Inspiration Lake Recreation Center is open to visitors and a character meal has returned to the Disneyland Hotel. Enchanted Gardens open over there. Japan has extended its state of emergency until May 31st, and Tokyo Disneyland has extended its closures, and a reopening date will be announced once that state of emergency has been lifted. Disneyland Paris has extended their cancellation offer for guests with reservations arriving on or before July 14th. They are eligible for a full refund. Disneyland Paris has also postponed the opening of their new Marvel-themed Hotel New York. It was intended to open June 15th. Guests with stays at the new hotel through October 31st may rebook or receive a refund at this time. Their website still indicates that the park is closed until further notice. In other current news from Disney World and Disneyland, in a meeting of the Orange County Economic Recovery Task Force, Disney World Senior Vice President of Resort and Transportation Operations mentioned, "We do not have an opening date. I want to make that clear." Disney World is now currently only accepting reservations from July 1st onward, and that includes hotel reservations, many dining reservations, although Disney Springs reservations can be made from June 1st onward, and several special events like the Villains After Hours events. And that's as of last night. But just because Disney World is accepting reservations as of July 1st, that does not confirm that Disney World is officially opening on that date. Disney is continuing to cancel reservations and reach out to guests on a week-by-week basis. This week, those with reservations May 24th to May 31st are being notified. Remember, affected guests are able to rebook with a special free dining offer for dates through September 30th. In California, new reservations for the Disneyland Hotel, Disney's Grand Californian Hotel, and Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel are currently only available for dates July 1st and later. Construction is set to resume in Disneyland in the near future. According to the Orange County Register, construction will resume with limited teams for essential work on Avengers Campus and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. The crews will be made up of Disneyland employees, Walt Disney Imagineers, and third-party contractors. So what are other United States theme parks doing? We're looking to see what other travel and tourism operations are doing to sort of try to get an insight into what Disney's going to be doing. So while we're still waiting to hear news on a timeline, other theme parks are definitely moving forward. There's been no official announcement from Universal Orlando yet, but wait staff and employees at both the Starbucks location in City Walk as well as Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville received notice that all restaurants at City Walk are planning to reopen on Monday, May 11th. The Universal parks are still scheduled to be closed at least through May 31st. Knott's Berry Farm, which is located just about 10 minutes away from Disneyland, may keep its parks closed through the end of the year to make sure that new health and safety protocols are implemented for guests and workers. The company operates theme parks around the country, including Cedar Point in Ohio and Kings Dominion in Virginia. Knott's Berry Farm has reopened their Chicken to Go restaurant, though, for deliveries. The Florida State Aquarium is planning to reopen on May 15th with required reservations, limited capacity, physical distancing, and PPE for all employees. Though a lot smaller than Disney World, the state of Florida and other businesses will certainly be looking closely at procedures set in place by those places that are reopening first to see what can be adopted and what should be adapted. All right, moving off of the closures and the health stuff, let's talk about Star Wars. There's been a new Star Wars film announced. We have news that the Academy Award-winning writer and director of Disney Plus's The Mandalorian, Taika Waititi, has signed on to direct and co-write the new feature film to be released in theaters. Disney also recently announced a new female-centric Star Wars series will be coming to Disney Plus soon, created by Emmy-nominated writer Leslie Headland. All right, other things to play with. This week, Disney launched the new Droid Depot mobile app. The free app lets you interact with a droid you've already built at Galaxy's Edge Droid Depot, much like how the droids interact with the land itself. You can also choreograph a dance for your droid and play tic-tac-toe with it. Haven't built a real-life droid yet? The app allows users to build a digital droid, or you can order a pre-built droid from shopdisney.com. Mariachi Cobre from Epcot's Mexico Pavilion are the latest musical act to join the Voices from Home. You can also catch the Jammers and the Dapper Dans performing on the Disney Parks YouTube channel. Disney has also been releasing virtual ride-throughs. The latest is a virtual ride on Rise of the Resistance. You can also check out our video on Rise of the Resistance to get some tips on snagging that boarding pass once the parks reopen. In merchandise news, mini ear remakes have been released. Shortly before the parks closed, a new version of the Briar Rose Gold mini ears were released in the parks, but now you can get them online at Shop Disney for $29.99. The newly remodeled classic mini ears, also for $29.99, have just arrived on Shop Disney as well. These ears have a slightly different polka dot pattern to their bow, and they are much fuzzier than the last pair. Loungefly Mini Polka Dot Collection has debuted. This includes a new crossbody, wallet, and keychain, and it features Minnie's iconic dots with gold accents, including the classic D for Disney. There's also been a new Marvel Loungefly collection. This is a Marvel logo collection with a backpack, waist bag, and wallets emblazoned with the Marvel Studios logo. You'll find them on Shop Disney. Danielle Nicole has teased a new Baby Yoda bag. At this point, it seems like Disney's required to release new Baby Yoda merchandise weekly, and come late August, you'll be able to get this adorable bag from Danielle Nicole. We've only gotten a peek at the prototype for this bag and a release month. We'll keep you posted so you can add this one to your collection. Country Bear Wishables have arrived and basically already sold out over there on Shop Disney. Like all Wishables, most of the ones from this collection come in a blind bag. For $9.99, you'll get a chance of getting Henry, Teddy Bear, Baby Oscar, or a joint plush for Benny, Bubbles, and Beulah. Complete the set with a standalone Big Al Wishable for $9.99 too. There's a new Bambi, Dooney, and Burke. The new design from Dooney and Burke collection was just released yesterday. The design features Disney animal characters from Bambi, The Fox and the Hound, and Pocahontas. And we've got new Ray-Ban Disney sunglasses. They've released more styles to their Disney collection. 4 new styles of sunglasses feature Mickey and the gang, and all come with certificates of authenticity and a special Ray-Ban and Disney box. The collection ranges from $204 to $244 per pair. All right, that's all the news right now, you guys. We are slogging through all of it. We are watching all those task force meetings. We're getting everything to you as quickly as we can on Disney Food Blog and on our newsletter. So again, if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, I highly, highly recommend it. You can always unsubscribe when all this stuff is over if you want to, or you can stay subscribed because we keep sending more fun stuff. Thanks for listening, you guys, and thanks for watching. This is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.